Yes, hello and welcome to B&B's Football Happy Hour. I am Bobby, and as always, joined with my man Brian.
What's going on? Glad to be back. Kind of, I don't know, happy that we got to see a Super Bowl. But just like that, the season's over, and there is no more football to talk about besides free agents and some of these trades, I guess. So, kind of
Got
bittersweet.
yeah, we'll find something to gab about. First and foremost, though, shout out to Dunson, who brings all of our beats to you, and to our sponsor, Diaper Dust. Check it out, www.thediaperdust.com. It is starting to blow up all over the place, everywhere. And the whole month of February, there's a sale. Every bottle is only $10. So definitely get on it now while you can, because that sale, again, is only for the month of February. So check it out, www.thediaperdust.com.
Yep, check it out. And doesn't can you order it on Amazon? I don't know if I was supposed to say
Amazon,
Amazon, but I know you were trying to get it out there so
just
you can
about
order it
there.
off Amazon. All right, so we're close.
Just about on Amazon.
All right,
Yep.
so go to the website still then for now.
Just for now. Yep. So this show, we're going to hit up a Super Bowl recap, obviously. We're going to talk free agent tight ends and some free agent defensive players. We sometimes, being as during the season as fantasy focused as we are, sometimes we don't hit on all of our defensive guys. So definitely want to give them some love, because there are some big names out there. Some folks want to make some big time bucks. So we're going to touch on that as well. Sound good to you?
That's good to me, man. Let's roll. Let's
All
go.
right, Super Bowl.
Mm.
Ooh, what a letdown.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, the Buccaneers, if you're a Bucs fan, obviously you're pumped. They won 31-9. Tom Brady threw for 201 yards and 3 touchdowns, only 8 incompletions. Rob Gronkowski turned back the clock and caught 2 of those touchdowns that Brady threw. And that also gave Brady and Gronk the record for the most playoff touchdowns between teammates in NFL history, surpassing the great Hall of Famers Joe Montana and Jerry Rice. Antonio Brown, of all people, makes me sick, caught the other touchdown. In an effort to increase the money he's already made for himself, Leonard Fournette rumbled for a touchdown of his own to go along with 89 yards rushing. That dude, got cut right before the season started. He was kind of wishy-washy throughout the year with the Buccaneers. Playoffs hit, and that guy has been balling out. What a good time to do that. Now, meanwhile, old Patrick Mahomes, he only threw for 270 yards, no scores. The Chiefs as a team didn't even find the end zone, and 2 interceptions on just over 50% completion percentage. Come on, Mahomes. He was under duress, though, basically every play. And I don't know if you saw this, but per next gen stats, poor Patrick Mahomes ran for 497 yards behind the line of scrimmage, the most by any quarterback in any game this season. The dude ran for 500 yards behind the line of scrimmage while just running for his life. Travis Kelce, he did his part, 10 catches, 133 yards. And Tyreek Hill had 7 for 73, but that's a far cry from his 200-plus yard and 3-score performance from Week 12.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, this was a kind of a disappointing game. I mean, we both like the Buccaneers, I guess, as we did last week. Predicted the Bucs to win. I thought it was going to be a little closer than obviously 31-9. But man, if you would have told me if this was going to be a blowout, I would have told you the Chiefs would obviously be on that side. But that didn't happen, man. And Mahomes, I think I read he had his first double-digit loss of his career, so that's a bad time
Yes.
to do that. And you can't fault Mahomes. I mean, some of those plays that he made, diving and throwing some of those passes, they were pretty incredible. I mean, it was a Tyreek Hill had one hit off his head, and Damian Williams had one hit him off the hands. So I mean, those could have been near touchdowns, but they weren't.
Kelce dropped one too.
Yeah, Kelce dropped a pass, and I mean, their stats looked good, but I mean, a lot of it was kind of late in the game. You know what I'm saying? Third, fourth quarter, they're out there throwing every single play. So, I mean, I think at halftime, Mahomes or into the third quarter, Mahomes didn't even have 100 yards passing. So, a lot of his games sort of when this game was already wrapped up. And yeah, I don't know, man. I know the Bucs D was one of those factors that we had last week we talked about. Like we talked about before the show, some of the penalties we called that too. You called that penalties being a factor, and they were
Big time.
big time factor. Chiefs had they have 11, I think, penalties, right? So
Yeah, and
um,
no one was talking about. I didn't hear. I mean, I listened a lot to TV and the radio. I didn't hear a single person mention the difference in penalties that the teams had throughout the season. And sure enough, the
yeah,
Buccaneers came with 4 penalties all game, and the Chiefs ended up with 11 flags for 120 yards.
hmm yeah,
Whew,
huge
what a
factor.
hole you're digging yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, huge factor, which led to some points. I mean, the couple of pass interference calls and whatnot, lining up off sides. I mean, those are big plays and or big calls, or in big situations, and I mean, they're penalties. So anybody who wants to argue about it, I mean, they're to me they weren't really that egregious like some people might like to post online, but yeah, a good game if you're a Bucks fan, and I think the conversation's over, man. Tom Brady, I think to me before he was already the GOAT, and this just cements his legacy with 7 touchdowns. I don't think we'll ever see anybody. I mean, maybe somebody will break that record one day, but I don't think nobody currently playing. I mean, I don't think Mahomes will get to another 8 Super Bowls or whatever, 7 Super Bowls and win them all. I don't think that's possible. I don't
I
know.
had I had a friend of mine share with me an article that she read today that said the odds of a human being winning 7 Super Bowls is like you winning the Powerball lottery if you bought 5 tickets.
Yeah,
It's absolutely astronomical.
yeah, it's not. I mean, dude. I mean, I like Tom. I'm not a Buccaneers fan, but I mean, I like. You have to tip your cap. I mean, I don't. I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, people hate on Tom Brady and people hate on LeBron, but these are the best. Like LeBron is the best player in the NBA right now. I mean, he might not be better than Michael Jordan, but I mean, why even create the argument? Just watch greatness. I mean, watch the Super Bowl and watch. I mean, Tom Brady's 43 years old. I mean, most dudes that are 43 are not winning Super Bowls, obviously not playing in the NFL. Those guys are drinking beer in their garage and watching the games. I mean, like just watch the game and just appreciate that the dude's 43 years old. He's in better shape now than he was when he went to the combine when he was 21. And
Yeah, for our listeners out there, if you have not seen Tom Brady's combine picture, just Google it.
Mhm.
Google Tom Brady combine picture to see what this dude looked like coming out of college, going into the NFL. I mean, he looks like he's the one that should be in the garage drinking beer.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. And he's I mean, look, he had 201 yards and 3 touchdowns, and I think the 3 touchdowns
He didn't need 202 yards.
He didn't need it. Yeah, he didn't need it anymore. I mean, the whole second half they were pounding it with Fournette and Ronald Jones. You know what I mean. And he didn't need to do any more. And he could have threw a 4th touchdown. Who was that offensive lineman? That guy dropped one off of his head.
Yeah.
He had it in his hands, and that kind of doinked off of his helmet. I mean, that could have been 4 touchdowns in the first half. I mean, it's unreal,
so
man.
Talking
That's
about
unreal.
Speaking about age, I got one for you that was shocking to me. But you see Rob Gronkowski, you see his picture, what he looks like, and his production has dropped off. I mean, substantially in a few years. Well, you realize him and Travis Kelce are the exact same age.
Yeah, I saw that. They were both 31 years old.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Kelsey's the best tight end. This game has, at least for right now, in this stage of his career, I don't think a tight end's ever played better.
Mm-mm.
And Rob Gronkowski, he doesn't even, I mean, he looks sick. He doesn't even look healthy. And he's retired already and had, back surgeries and stuff like that. But Travis Kelce, same age, and just set the all-time single-season record for receiving yards by a tight end.
Yeah,
what a different path their careers are taking right now.
Yeah, man, they're both studs. I mean, to me, they were kind of hiding Gronk in the playoffs a little bit. I mean, he had some games this year where he obviously had some big games this year during this season, but I don't know, man. When I'm watching these playoff games, it seems like to me he's out there just as a extra blocker. You know what I'm saying? And he's out there, blocking his butt off, and then they kind of unleash him in the Super Bowl a little bit with that first design play to Gronk, and then that one, the second touchdown was pretty nice when Brady kind of moved to his right a little bit and then hit Gronk in the back of the end zone there on a nice pass.
I think you can argue Gronk could have deserved the MVP.
He could have, yeah. I mean, if it was going to be anybody else,
could have been
Gronk.
He outscored Kansas City by himself.
Yeah, if I could see anybody else, it would be Gronk. I mean, look, the defense played good, but you can't give an MVP award to not one single. It was not one single player. I
The
mean,
de-
there was players that stuck out, but not one that stuck. Like nobody had like 4.5 sacks. I mean, if Shaq Barrett
I
had
really
four
wish
and a half sacks, then he would have won it. But I mean, you can't give that award to a whole unit. And man,
I
I
really
guess
wish they could, because that D line, that front deserved. They should have all been up there with the MVP award
I
because
was gonna say, man, in my
I
notes
mean,
right here, I read that the Buccaneers only had 5 designed blitzes the whole game, yet Patrick Mahomes is out there running for his life on every single play. You're getting pressure with rushing 4 and 5 guys with Shaq Barrett, with Ndamukong Suh. Who else did they had? Vita Vea. That dude was blowing up the middle. I mean, he was just coming through the middle almost every other play. JPP was out there with his club out there just destroying people. They just stepped up, man. And I just think I mean, I just think Tom Brady, not only is he a good player still at the age of 43, obviously he's good enough to win a Super Bowl. And I think my man ended up with like 50 touchdowns this year, I guess if you include the playoffs, but he still didn't have more than Aaron Rodgers. So I can't say I called that one, but
now
um,
I have not fact checked this. However, a friend of the show that we've had on a couple times, Mike Seff, he helped
uh,
us cover some teams over the summer.
mhm.
He is extremely knowledgeable in stats and kind of off the wall NFL facts. And he told me, I believe it was yesterday, we were chatting on the phone, that JPP is undefeated in the
Mhm.
playoffs.
Is he?
He
Hmm.
swept through with the Giants and
Mhm.
then now with the Buccaneers.
Yeah,
You
that's
just got to
good.
get that. You got to get that. If your team
You just
has
got
to
to
get
have
to the
that guy.
playoffs with JPP on it, you're good to go.
Yeah, you just got to have him, man. And I think, I mean, obviously, look, Tampa Bay was 7-9 last year, and a lot of those guys. I mean, a lot of the team. I mean, it was back. Like Godwin and those guys, they're all back. I mean, they drafted Tristan Wirfs in the first round, and I think he gave up 1 sack all year on like 478 passing plays or something like that. I think he was graded one of the top offensive tackles in the NFL, and he was only a rookie, so that was a heck of a pick by them.
Yeah, and I think this is going to be interesting this offseason because Tampa Bay has some big name guys hitting free agency, like the aforementioned Chris Godwin. We talked about him
Mhm.
last week, like Antonio Brown, Rob Gronkowski only signed a 1 year deal. So Levante David. So they're going to have some
Yeah,
big
they
time
do.
question marks if they can bring these guys back. Now Gronk, he's going to play wherever Brady does. So and he'll probably pay for peanuts. See, I don't think he's really worried about the money.
Yeah,
He
that's
just
what I
wants to
was gonna say.
stack up these titles with his boy. But it's going to be interesting because Godwin's going to command a lot of money. And
Uh-huh.
now I did read a report that Mike Evans said, he came out and was like, you can take money from me if you need to keep these guys around, which is,
Mhm.
I mean, unbelievably unselfish and great thing to see in today's NFL where most wide receivers are hardcore divas. Give me all my money. I want every pass thrown to me. And this guy's willing to throw some of his check to other
To
players
Adam.
to keep the team strong. So we'll see. It's going to be very interesting for the Buccaneers during this free agency period.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I think I looked at it today. They think they have 38 million in cap space right now. Like you said, I don't think Gronk is absolutely not going anywhere. I mean, he'll sign for 1 or 2 million bucks if he has to. I mean,
I think it.
he's not going on any other team.
Ah, wow. I don't. You talk Godwin. You said.
No, Gronk.
Oh, Gronk. I'm sorry. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Gronk's not going anywhere. Godwin, I mean, I don't know why you would leave. Like, why would you leave? I mean, I guess if you're just want to get paid, I guess. But I mean,
That's right. Green speaks, my friend. That green speaks.
yeah. But I mean, what's he gonna do? Go sign for what 15 million and play for the Jets who stink, and then you can make if the Buccaneers offer you 11, and you're gonna maybe make winning the Super Bowl again. I mean,
That's so funny because I was actually thinking the exact same numbers. Like, what if the Jaguars offer him 15 million and he just has to drive up the road, whereas Tampa
yeah,
Bay offers him 11? I mean, that's $4 million a year. What if it's a 4 or 5 year deal?
yeah.
It's big
He
time
might
money.
leave. I would get rid of AB. I wouldn't even really try to bring him back. There's really no point. I mean, Gronk will come back. I mean, I think they should go hard after Godwin. Obviously, he's only 25, I think, so they should go hard after trying to re-sign him. And if Mike Evans is going to restructure his deal, maybe you can get another 5 or 6 million out of that if you can convert some of his to a signing bonus. And then maybe give a little bit more to Godwin and structure those contracts, I guess, accordingly for the next couple of years. And they really need to I would try to really get Levante David back and maybe Sue. I mean, so Sue's like a Gronk. I mean, I don't think he's going to demand a bunch of money either. You know what I'm saying? Like he just wants to win. So those guys I think will stay on the squad. But yeah, it'll be. But then again, it's like this though. So you're going to lose guys, but how many other guys are going to want to come play though?
True.
You know what I'm saying? Like how many other free agents are going to want to go play with Tom Brady and go play for the Bucks this year? So I
Same
mean,
with Fournette.
yeah.
I think Fournette got his ring and he's out. He's just going to follow the money since he got it.
Dude, Fournette's gone. Yeah, Fournette's a done deal. I mean, you're not going to get him back, I don't think. I mean, what did he have? I think he had more rushing yards in the playoffs than he did in the regular season. So
he might have.
I think he had like 378 yards in the playoffs, and he had like 350 yards during the season or something. I don't know. Something I saw over a certain period of time.
He even had like 4 catches in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, they were calling him Playoff Lenny. I guess that's his new name now because he had a couple big games.
He did step up. He did step up for 4 games.
Yeah, I mean, to me, he looked like LeGarrette Blount back in the day. I mean, he looked
awesome.
Yeah,
I mean,
good.
Dude was trucking people and throwing guys around this past Sunday.
Yeah, and he said in an interview, he came out and said, I guess Tom Brady talked to him before the game and said, we're going to wear these guys out, and you're going to be the factor at the end of the game. He's like, I want you to run hard and basically, run everybody over and do your thing. And that's what he did, man. And I think, like I was saying earlier, man, Brady he just demands people to get better. You know what I'm saying? And some people don't like that, but obviously it works. And
it does.
I don't know. You can hear some of these interviews. You hear these guys. I mean, Tom Brady I forget who it was, Shaq Barrett maybe saying he would send a text message every night at 11 p.m. and said we're going to win, or we will win. I mean, when you have a guy like that that's won 6 Super Bowls and you get that text message at night, like he makes everybody better. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody wants to play up to the level, and do their part and help Tom and the guys win their Super Bowl. And it's fun to watch. I mean, I'm not a Bucks fan, obviously, but in the Super Bowl, I was cheering for him. Just, I don't know. I've never really cheered for Tom Brady in his Super Bowls. You know what I'm saying? I mean, obviously the 2 that he played the Eagles, obviously not. I mean, I guess I might have cheered against them when they were playing the Giants. I didn't want to see a division rival win the Super Bowl, but they did. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, all those other ones, I wasn't really pulling for Brady. I was kind of just tired of seeing him in there. Then after a while, you start to look at it and you're just like, man, this dude is he's pretty good. He's the best. I mean, he's
pretty good. Yeah, he's all right.
He's all right. But I mean, he had some big statistical years, and I mean, people are always like, he doesn't dominate the game like some other people did. But I mean, I don't know. To me, the argument, this isn't there anymore. Every other year, I mean, this guy's in the Super Bowl all the time, winning them all. It's just unreal to me. I don't know. I wonder how many more you can even get to.
All of them.
I don't know. I mean, he obviously said, next year isn't even a question. He said it up there on the podium, like, you already know that, and I'm coming back, and we'll see. I mean, the Chiefs are still going to be there, obviously, with a little chip on their shoulder now, but I think the Buccaneers will be one of the top teams back in the NFC. I mean, obviously the Packers are going to be good as well, and there's always a few teams that surprise, but I don't know, man. I think the division gets easier too, obviously. You know what I'm saying? With Drew Brees retiring, I mean, I don't think those 2 games, they obviously mean a lot in the regular season, you know what I'm saying, for the Bucks, but they're obviously not going to be.
And the Panthers are a year or 2 away from being competitive.
Yeah, and the Falcons are, I don't know. They might be they might be a little better, but still, I mean, I don't know. To me, the division for them gets easier, and I don't know. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I think they're going to be right back to where they are, especially with old Tommy boy.
All right. I think that closes the curtain on the NFL regular season. Kind of a weird, bittersweet feeling, but
yep.
How's a little free agent tight end talk sound?
All right, let's talk about our favorite position here. We love our tight ends.
So I got kind of a bold statement here. I think of all the positions out there, the tight ends are going to be the position that gets overpaid. And I'm not saying they're going to make more money than the other positions, but per what you think they should make, because dude, the cupboard is bare. I got maybe 5 or 6 tight ends here. We got Hunter Henry, Jonnu Smith, Gerald Everett, Gronk, who we've been talking about, and Jared Cook. Those are the 5 biggest free agent tight ends. That's gross. However, because that's all there is out there, I mean, obviously there's a bunch of other guys, but you never heard of them. Teams are going to have to pay to get these guys. The first one, Hunter Henry, I mentioned, he always seems like he's everyone's fantasy darling in the preseason, but dude's never played 16 games. He also never hit 100 yards in any game this year, and he had 9 games with less than 50 receiving yards. 60 catches and 652 yards are his best seasons he's ever had in the 5 years he's been in the league, and they didn't happen in the same season. He had 60 catches one year and another year at 652 yards, but that's his best season ever. And this dude's going to make some money, I think.
Yeah, I mean, good for it. I mean, it's good because, I mean, it's somebody's got to get paid. I mean, somebody's got to demand the money. So, yeah, good for these guys. They're going to get paid for sure. But are they going to be worth it? Probably not. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully your team already has a tight end or you can draft one because, like you said, the cupboard's pretty bare to me. I mean, Hunter Henry is a decent player. I mean, I'd like to see him go to, I don't know, man, somewhere like maybe New England, maybe. I don't know. He might shine a little bit in New England. But our boy Herbert, he doesn't seem like he likes to check it down and throw to the tight end a whole lot. So, like you said, Henry didn't have that many great games this year. I mean, and as far as fantasy wise, I mean, he didn't really do a whole lot for you. But
I got 2 spots for Henry. One of them is New England. They love using the tight end. They had Gronk for so many years and other players who are no longer in the NFL, who is also a great tight end. But another spot, the Indianapolis Colts in the preseason. In the preseason, I talked about Frank Reich. He is a tight ends guy. He has coached so many good tight ends. Future Hall of Famer Antonio Gates and Dallas Clark. He coached in India a long time ago, but now he's back. And Hunter Henry would be great. Jack Doyle was one of my big guys I thought was going to have a great year at the tight end position. I was wrong on Jack Doyle, but I was right about the position. If you look at the tight end position for the Colts, it was great. The problem was there were 3 guys, Doyle, Mo Alley-Cox, and Trey Burton that kept throwing out there and alternating, so you never knew who was going to be the guy. But you get someone like Hunter Henry in there, if he can stay healthy, he can siphon all those targets, and those 3 guys become one, which would be big time for whoever is the quarterback there in Indy.
Yeah, that would be they're 2 good spots. Yeah, I had New England because obviously they love to use the tight end, but that quarterback situation is still kind of up in the air. Obviously, I don't know what they're going to do, especially and with the Colts as well. I mean, we don't know if our boy Wentz is going to get traded out there or whatnot, so we'll have to wait and see. But I mean, to me, if I'm Hunter Henry, I mean, is it the best thing to take the most money or to take the money? You know, you're obviously going to get offered probably around this. I don't know. I mean, teams, the deals are usually pretty similar. I mean,
the Colts have got cash, man. The Colts have got like, I don't know, 70 million in cap space or something. They have room to overpay for their guy, whoever they want.
That's, I mean, why don't you go get your money, but put yourself in the best situation? You know what I'm saying? Don't go sign with a team that, I don't know, that, I mean,
I think that's it. I mean, Colts are a playoff team, plus they have money. I think it's just a win-win-win all the way around. It's one of the things that makes too much sense. It's not going to happen.
That won't happen. Yeah. But yeah, hopefully he gets in a good situation. Because I mean, look, in the long run, if he were to go to a New England or an Indianapolis, I mean, I think he'll prolong his career. You know what I'm saying? Like he's going to put up stats to maybe get himself another contract. I mean, if you go to an, I don't know, if you just go sign with a random team like the Jets or somebody like that, like you might be out of the NFL in 2 or 3 years. You know what I'm saying? So why not go get your money, but put yourself in the best situation where you can make more money down the road and make yourself relevant again, because he was kind of fading off and for the Chargers there for a little while because Herbert likes to sling that ball down the field, man. And like you said, Hunter Henry just needs to stay on the field with it. I mean, he gets injured a lot and whatnot, so maybe he can actually have a healthy season and put himself in a better situation. So if I was his agent, I would be looking at those teams for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Next up, Jonnu Smith, another guy I was real big on in the preseason coming in. And he's basically a slightly more healthy Hunter Henry. But I don't know. He has his highs, including 5 touchdowns in the first 4 games this year. but he also has his lows. 7 games with 20 or less receiving yards. The athleticism is there, but he is just not consistent. Now, I'll say, part of his issue could be Tennessee's offense because he had 3 games with 3 or less targets. So he can only perform if the quarterback is throwing him the ball. However, I don't know what to think about this guy. He steps in for Delaney Walker. Like I said, he blows it up occasionally, and then he is nowhere to be found. He's on a milk carton in other games. But again, this dude's going to get paid, and I would love to see him go to Jacksonville, another team with a lot of money. They got Trevor Lawrence coming in there. They got a good running game. They have good receivers out there, decent receivers. Who knows what they're going to do in free agency? Maybe they bring in Godwin. Maybe they bring Allen Robinson back. They got a whole new coaching staff and everybody from the last time he was in Jacksonville. They got money to burn, and Jonnu could be a very nice weapon for that offense.
Yeah, like you said, to me, he was just kind of inconsistent throughout this year. Obviously, real football talk and fantasy football talk. I looked it up. I think he was 25th in routes run for tight ends, 18 targets. He averaged 8.9 fantasy points a game, which was 20th for tight ends. Like you said, he had some big weeks early on in the season, but kind of faded off. Didn't do a whole lot a few weeks. Not as bad as our boy. What the heck is the dude from the damn Falcons? Who's Hayden Hurst. Yeah, that guy, man. That guy haunts me. Try to forget his name. Not as bad as him, but man, he fell off some weeks. And I don't know. To me, Tennessee, I would put myself in a better situation. Tennessee, obviously, they're a run-first team. I mean, Henry's going to run the ball 350 to 380 times a game if he's healthy. You know what I'm saying? So half the time, Jonnu Smith's out there blocking, which he's not the best blocking tight end in the world. So, yeah, if I would go to maybe a Jacksonville or, a team that utilizes tight ends a little bit more. And like you said, Jacksonville could be a good spot, obviously, with Lawrence, with a young quarterback. I'm saying he might be a little hesitant at first to launch the ball down the field, so he might be looking for his tight end, you know what I'm saying, and in a short intermediate routes. So, yeah, that could work. And, man,
it's another spot you got for him.
Somewhere like New England, or I had Indianapolis or New England again, and maybe Jacksonville. Like you said, I only had 2 of those. I had the Colts and New England, but because to me, they're just in the best situation. And Jonnu Smith is athletic, but just like you said, he gets hurt a lot too. He's I'm saying, he's just inconsistent. So he's obviously going to get his money, man, but I don't know. He just needs to stay on the field, and he's got to see more production, because if he's going to get that kind of cash, I don't know. Some of these guys that get paid, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes it can go either way. Sometimes they try to go out there and prove a point like they're worth the money, or sometimes they kind of just think that they get the paycheck, and then it's just like, I got paid. So it doesn't matter if I play or not. I'm still collecting the same paycheck. So we'll see. Hopefully he puts himself in a better situation. But yeah, like I said with you, I agree with you. Jacksonville has the money. I wouldn't want to see him overpay for Jonnu Smith, but he could definitely fit that team. They would need a player like him, would definitely help their situation.
All right, next, a very exciting name, sarcastically, Gerald Everett, his former second-round pick, but he has not lived up to expectations. Besides his 90-yard Week 5 performance, he failed to surpass 44 yards in any other game. If he goes to a tight end friendly team who goes out of their way to utilize him, he could maybe push for top 12 or 14 tight end numbers. Now, granted, the tight end position is very, very weak, but he doesn't excite me.
No.
He seems like a guy that would go to the Texans, where they always seem to have their tight ends that they have potential, that they have some athletic ability, but they never end up doing anything. It just seems like that's a spot where he would just go and disappear. We'd never hear from him again.
Yeah. Yeah, he's one of those guys. Obviously, he has a little talent, but he shows flashes of athleticism out there. But to me, Higbee's obviously probably the guy they're going to roll with. Obviously they love some Tyler Higbee on the Rams, but Gerald Everett, I mean, man, I don't know. Is he going to be considered, I guess he has to be. I guess, I mean, he's going to be the third tight end option out there. So if you're not going to get Henry or Jonnu Smith, I mean, to me, he could go to any team, to be honest. I mean, a team that already has a tight end, and you can just say, hey, you're the tight end, you're tight end too. You know what I'm saying? We're going to run some 12 personnel. And, some teams, maybe if he doesn't draw a big market, I mean, a team could maybe, save some cash on kind of just bringing him in because he has, I mean, he has some athleticism. Obviously, he's a big dude, and he's pretty quick. But yeah, I don't know if some team might be able to save a little cash if they're not going to feature him as the tight end one. You know what I'm saying? A team that has a steady tight end, you can bring him in and just have packages for him, and you're obviously not going to pay him $12 million to come in and be the tight end too. So we'll see. I mean, I guess to me, I mean, his market isn't just set on a couple teams. I think any teams could really bring him in because I don't think he's going to draw like huge interest from a ton of NFL teams. So I don't know, man. He could go anywhere to me.
A team that comes to mind, if that's where we're headed, I think Miami Dolphins. You got Mike Gesicki there, who's obviously the pass catching option. But you bring Jared Everett in there, perfect number 2, gets 40, 50 targets, maybe 20, 30 catches, maybe, and a couple of touchdowns.
And we always talk about, during the regular season, like the running backs that finally get their chance. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
And sometimes they don't work. So, I mean, is a team really going to want to pay Gerald Everett, $10 million and make him your guy? And
not going to happen. Not going to happen.
No, I mean, I wouldn't want to pay Gerald Everett $5 or $6 million. You know what I'm saying? If I were the Dolphins, that would be a good spot. A team like that, obviously, but if he's going to go to a team like the Dolphins, he's going to be making $4 million a year, probably. I mean, a multiple year deal, like a 3-year, whatever, I don't know, $15 million or a 3-year something $1 million deal. But yeah, I'm not too excited about him. So the cupboard is getting bare after the two guys. I mean, I'm not really that sold on Hunter Henry or Jonnu Smith either. So hopefully your team already has a tight end.
I'm sorry. I'm stuck on your 3-year something $1 million deal. That's
3-year, $12 million.
No, it's all good. I hear you. And I don't think he's not going to be the number one guy anywhere. And if he is, it will be, like I said, a place like Houston where they don't really utilize a tight end too much. And he just fades away into oblivion.
Yeah, and a team like Houston would probably pay him more money, but
all right.
I don't know.
Gronk, I don't think we need to talk about Gronk. We already did. He's old. He's only playing with Brady. He's not going to go anywhere else. So he'll either be in Tampa or retired again.
Yep.
And then Jared Cook's all I got, man. He is also old and very much declining. Over the last 3 years, his receptions have dropped from 68 to 43 to 37 this past year. And his receiving totals have dipped from 896 to 705 to 504. He still gets it done in the red zone. I think he scored 7 touchdowns this year, but if his production continues to slide, he's going to be a complete non-factor.
Yeah, and he's played with Drew Brees for a while, so those numbers are obviously good because he's playing with a great quarterback. But yeah, I'm definitely not excited about Jared Cook. So, but a team's going to bring him in as a tight end too. He's not going to be the go-to guy on any team as a tight end, I don't think. But
I got a spot for you. The dude's been in the league since 2009. So he's been around forever. Why not pair him with a younger team? Get a veteran presence in there, another pass catching option for one Joe Burrow. Have him out there running routes. You got Tyler Boyd, who's fairly young. You got T. Higgins out there, who's obviously young, who's rookie this year. I don't know. I think it'd be a nice veteran presence in that locker room to, he worked with Drew Brees, so he can help talk to Joe Burrow and teach him what tendencies Drew Brees had and that kind of thing. And, catch some touchdown passes from Joe Burrow while he's at it.
Yeah, I mean, that would be a pretty good spot. Yeah. But I don't know, man. It's just, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, as Burrow, he's coming off that injury. I guess he'll be able to go by the beginning of the year, maybe. But, yeah, that would be a pretty good spot. I mean, obviously he'd be good in the locker room with the young guys, but they would need to probably. Well, they're obviously not going to draft a tight end in the first round, but I don't know. They'd have to somebody in there younger so he
Kyle
can.
Pitts. Kyle Pitts.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
That dude from Florida is
yeah.
technically a tight end, but he is nasty. He is a serious weapon, and he is probably going to go in the first 10 picks. And I think Cincinnati's sitting there at 5. Now, I think it would be a
Yeah.
mistake for them to take him with, Rashawn Slater and Penei Sewell, whoever else is there, offensive tackles. But you never know.
Yeah, they might get. I don't know. Yeah, like I said, I think they're going to go tackle, obviously, at that early, but you never know. They could trade back maybe a few picks and take Pitts, and then you never know. They could sign a tackle free agent or a trade or something like that. But I don't know. But yeah, that would be obviously. I mean, look, if they could get that kid, and you pair him with Jared Cook. I mean, obviously, Jared Cook would be the number 2, in that situation, and he could kind of groom. That would be good for that young kid to learn from somebody like him. So, I mean, that would be a great spot. But yeah.
What about putting Jared Cook with your boy out there in Seattle, with Russ Wilson?
That doesn't excite me a whole lot, really. I don't know.
Ooh, no.
Nah.
Bring that. Keep those linebackers and those safeties in the middle of the field for just a split second longer with DK and Tyler Lockett on the outside.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't know what kind of production is he going to give you? I mean, do you want to sign? I mean, obviously, he's not going to make a ton of money, but
name the last productive tight end Seattle's had.
Yeah, not many. I mean, who they have this year?
That's right.
Who they have this year? Greg Olsen, right? And then he retired.
Greg Olsen, Will Dissly, Jacob Hollister. Let me know when you get excited.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather just roll with Dissly or somebody like that because you can pay him $780,000.
I don't think Cook's going to command a whole lot of money.
Yeah, a few million, I guess you'd have to pay him, but yeah, that could work. I mean, obviously, you play with Russell Wilson. I mean, obviously, can't go wrong with him, but I just don't know about his production, man. He's getting up there in age, and he's kind of, like you said, he's been declining every year. So one of these years, he's just going to either get hurt and miss a ton of time, or he's just not going to do anything. So, but I saw Russell Wilson, man. He didn't seem like he was on a Dan Patrick show today, and he didn't seem like he was too happy about his situation in Seattle. He said, what was his comments? I don't know if basically, I guess they asked him if he were to move on or something like that. And he said, that's a Seattle Seahawks issue and not a Russell Wilson problem. Basically, he said
he doesn't know if he's on the trade block.
Yeah. He said, that's a Seattle Seahawks issue, not a Russell Wilson issue. And
he also said,
yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah. I was going to say, he came out and said, what did he say? He's tired of I'm tired of getting hit or something. You know what I'm saying? So bring some linemen in and protect me. So I'm tired of getting my butt kicked because, I mean, he has the weapons out there, but yeah, that offensive line was kind of rough. I mean, so yeah, I'm glad. I mean, good for Russell Wilson to speak up because he's always a guy that's been pretty quiet. You know what I'm saying? I mean, obviously he's in the spotlight a little bit, but
I always find it interesting that certain teams completely ignore certain positions. And every year it's like, well, this is a glaring need. This is a glaring need. Why do you keep ignoring offensive line in Seattle, linebackers in Philly? It's just wide receivers in New England. Although I guess they tried with N'Keal Harry, but he's a bum. It's every year. It's the same teams have the same issues with the same positions, and I don't know why teams don't take care of it.
Yeah, well, hopefully they do because they're
especially with Russell Wilson.
Yeah, their franchise guy came out and said he's tired. So I don't think they want to part ways with Russell Wilson. So the best thing to do would be just probably call him and tell him that you're going to draft a lineman in the first round, and you'll look into free agency of protecting him a little better next year because they have the weapons. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they obviously got DK and they have Carson, and they have a decent team. I mean, if you can get a little production from the tight end spot and shore up that offensive line, I mean, they'll be right there next year. I mean, they need some defensive pieces too, but I don't know. Offensively, I mean, they'll be pretty good.
Speaking of defensive pieces, you ready to hop on that side of the ball?
All right, let's move on over to the defense.
All right, I got to give a shout out to my man Leonard Williams. This preseason, I had highlighted him, if you remember, as one of my guys with the most approved this year because, let's face it, he's been a bum. But he did it, man. He did it. His 11 and a half sacks this season were only 6 short of his previous 5-year combined total.
Yeah.
He also had 42 quarterback pressures, which were by far the most of any season he's played in. And he's a former, what was he, the 5th overall pick his rookie year, something like that.
Yeah, I think he was the top
Someone,
5 guy. Yeah. So what a
someone is going to pay this guy.
It's always funny, right? How these guys always have these career years, the years they become free agents, right? So
Oh, yes.
yeah, good for him. So yeah, obviously he's going to get paid. And to me, I mean, look, defensive guys, like we just talked about the tight ends. I mean, there's certain landing spots, for certain guys, like we talked about Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith. Colts, Patriots love the tight end. I mean, who doesn't love? I mean, every team loves interior defensive linemen and edge rushers and guys that pressure the quarterback. So to me, I mean, his options are probably going to be, pretty, widespread throughout the NFL. So I think any team, to me, this is a cap. If the team has the money, they might bring him in. You know what I'm saying? So you're going to have to pay probably top dollar to get old Leonard Williams because he was coming off a monstrous year this year. So hopefully he keeps that up after he gets paid. So we'll see what he does next year.
So the Jets drafted him 6th overall.
6th. Okay.
Yeah. So we were one off there. And if you're Leonard Williams, why not go back to the Jets? They got a ton of money. They got a great defensive-minded head coach, and you got to think they're going to bring in. Man, they're still the leader in the clubhouse for me for Deshaun Watson. And if he goes, that's the thing with the Jets. If they can get Deshaun Watson, sell the farm, do whatever you can to get him there, because as soon as he comes there, everybody's going to want to be a Jet. You're going to have offensive guys coming in. You're going to have defensive guys coming in. And Leonard Williams, go back to the team that drafted you.
That would be pretty wild, right? He goes from the Jets to the Giants, so he plays in the same stadium, just switches locker rooms, and then he goes back to the Jets. So, dude played. I don't know. He's been evolved in 3 different trade or free agency. Got drafted, got traded,
He never had to leave his apartment.
Got re-signed. Yeah, lives in the same space. Doesn't have to change his license. Doesn't have to do anything. Still lives in New York. Still drives to the same practice facility in the same stadium. Just goes into the other locker room and
I love it.
Changes his colors, but. Yeah, I mean, he's going to draw some big interest, obviously. And yeah, I think the pieces need to fall. Some of the big pieces need to fall because it's kind of like the LeBron factor when he signs with the Lakers and, Anthony Davis and all these other guys want to go play for him. So yeah, if they can get Deshaun Watson, I mean, I think they can get any free agent that's out there. So, and they have the cash and, I mean, Jacksonville, they might be able to. They can obviously pay him a ton of money, so I mean, he might be able to go there. And it's to me, this is a defensive guys is they get paid, and it's whoever has the most cash, man. Whoever is the highest bidder to these guys can get any. These guys will go to any team, I think.
Well, this next guy is one that I'm very excited to talk about because I know he holds a very special place in your heart, and that is Jadeveon Clowney. And this dude is a clown. We have said it 100 times on this show. Dude, he needs to be sacking groceries because he's certainly not sacking the quarterback. He played in 8 games this year and had a whopping 19 total tackles and 0 sacks. I have a feeling he still has a complete exaggerated sense of self, and he's going to try to hold out again for a decent contract, but it ain't coming, Clowney. You're done. It's over. Just sign for the veteran minimum and hope you get a handful of snaps a game.
Yeah, I mean, this guy, we talked about it. We've talked about him before, I guess, going into last season. I mean, we aren't the biggest fans of him. And obviously, the production's not there. So you obviously can't demand, $20 million and all this money that you think. I mean, the guy looks like he could, he has the physical attributes, but he just doesn't put it together on the field, man. And halfway through the year, I forgot what team he was on, to be honest. I had to look it up, and I was like, oh, he's on the Titans still? Yeah. And let me look at some of these stats. And then I was like, oh, what stats does he have? There's really not a whole lot on here.
Right. The Titans are dying for pass rushing help, and he couldn't get it done on a team that has no one else to do it. I mean, it's such an easy team to stick out, and be successful.
I don't know where he'll go, but obviously somebody will pay him because he has a name. I don't think he's going to make a ton of money, but I don't know. Somebody will pay him a few $1 million probably to do absolutely nothing what he does, and he'll look good in the uniform, and then he won't look too good when he's out there on the field. So yeah, he'll be an overpay, I'm sure, from some team this year.
I hope not. Another guy we may have forgotten about is Von Miller. As
Mm.
long as he is healthy, from his dislocated ankle, somebody's definitely going to pay this guy big bucks. He's got 7 seasons with double-digit sacks, 106 for his career, 8 Pro Bowls, and 3 All-Pro nods. Personally, I hope he resigns in Denver, because the only time we really got to see him and Denver's other defensive end, Bradley Chubb, play together was Chubb's rookie year in 2018 when they combined for 27 sacks. So even if he isn't as productive as he has been, which is tough because he's on a Hall of Fame, trajectory for his career with the numbers he's put up thus far, the dude's going to sell jerseys.
Mm-hmm.
And owners love that. So he's going to make money for sure.
Yeah, I mean, look, this guy, like you said, he's had a Hall of Fame career, I think, so far, and he's only adding to that. So I think, man, I don't know. I mean, he could go to any team, to be honest. I mean, any team, he's going to go to the highest bidder probably. I like to see him, like you said, I like to see him stay in Denver just to see that combo. I think he could be really productive, obviously, in Denver with those young guys, Chubb and stuff like that. And I don't know. We'll see. I mean, does he really want to go, or is he going to be – I don't know. I mean, Denver's got a lot of issues, so it's going to be tough. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are they going to do with the quarterback spot? And I don't know. It depends on where their money goes. You know what I'm saying? I mean, are they going to roll with Drew Lock? Or are they going to try to get rid of him and bring in somebody else? And it all depends, I guess, that cap. I'm not looking into every team's cap number right now, but I don't really know how the Broncos obviously probably have a little bit of, obviously I don't know if they're as bad off as the Eagles or if they have a ton of money to spend, but I don't know. They might be somewhere in the middle maybe, but
the Saints are the only team as bad as the Eagles.
Yeah, they're the only teams in the red right now, so which isn't good. So obviously they have a little bit of cash to spend, but I don't know. Are they going to want to bring in Von Miller, in a huge deal? I mean, I think Von Miller has to demand what? I mean, $15 million a year at least, right? I mean, he has to. You would think, right? So I don't know. It's going to be tough, but I don't know where he would end up. I haven't heard much of a market or any kind of estimated like annual pay. I mean, he's got to demand anywhere from, if Clowney thinks he can make $20 million a year, I mean, Von Miller's got to be making at least 17, 18, 15 to 18.
Look, if I'm the Titans, that's what I'm doing. I'm getting rid of Clowney as a joke and bringing Von Miller.
Signing him. Yeah. So that would be a good spot. And
I mean, surely Von Miller can get you 1 sack, and he's already better than Clowney.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I don't know. I mean, and how old's Von Miller? I mean, how old is he? He's what, 29 or 30, right? I mean, he's not that old, right?
I'll check. I'll get back to you on that one.
I mean, he's not. I don't think he's that old. So I don't know. Well, but either way, I mean, yeah, I'd like to see him stay in Denver. He's kind of been been a staple in the Broncos for quite a few years. So I'd like to see him stay there and kind of play out his remaining years in Denver and, try to help them build it back up to a playoff team or, something like that. So we'll see. But they got a lot of issues, man, on offense. So
he's 31.
All right, 31. So I'm sure he's got a few good years left. So we'll see, man. I don't know. But he's an edge rusher, and, these teams, like we saw in the Super Bowl, man, you have to pressure the quarterback. So there's going to be no, I'm sure every single team in the NFL is going to put a call in, you know what I'm saying, as long as they have some kind of money to sign guys, with. So,
well, so you're right, 100% edge rushers. I got 4 of them right now. I'm just going to list them, and you tell me which one you want, okay?
Mm-hmm.
We got Bud Dupree, had 8 sacks and 2 forced fumbles in 11 games this year. Mm-hmm. Olivier Vernon, he only played in 9 games, but he really turned it on from week 8 on. He got 9 sacks from week 8 to the end of the season. Leonard Floyd, 10.5 sacks and the most tackles in his career. And Hassan Reddick, former 13th overall pick, had 7.5 career sacks before this year and dropped the quarterback 12.5 times just this past season. Pretty good timing for a guy about to be a free agent. So who do you want? Bud Dupree, yep, Olivier Vernon, Leonard Floyd, or Hassan Reddick?
I mean, it's between Dupree or Reddick. I mean, I'll probably take Bud Dupree out of that group. He's probably, I think he's the youngest one in the group, obviously, right? I mean, he's younger than Olivier Vernon, right? And he's younger than,
Him or Reddick, I'm not sure, but they
yeah,
would.
Reddick's pretty young too. But man, Reddick, like he's only had that one.
Right.
He's only had that 1 year, and it wasn't even like it was a full year. I mean, he had some weeks. What did he have? Didn't he have like 6 sacks in one game this year? So I don't know. What was that game, man? He had like 5 or 6 sacks that one game. I remember watching it. I can't remember which one it was, but man, I don't know. Yeah, I'd probably take Bud Dupree. Um, he's had some good years in Pittsburgh. He's an athletic dude. He's a young kid. I mean, I don't know how much I'd want to pay him. I mean, obviously he's going to make, double-digit $1 million. I don't know, 10, $15 million, obviously, but I'll probably take Dupree out of those four.
All right.
Who would you take? Who do you got?
Man, I might go Reddick simply because I think he might be one of those guys that was a first round pick and kind of had like the I'm the greatest of all time kind of mindsets, and then got smacked in the face his first 3 seasons and realized, holy cow, this is not how I thought it was going to be. And maybe this year was his wake up call because, like we said, he's young and he's got the first round pedigree. So I would probably go with him simply because I'm hoping that this is the start of what's to come. Right. So this is the first year and he's going to keep building on it. But like that's going to be something I think you'd be able to figure out the first 30 seconds into an interview talking to somebody. You'll be able to know where their head's at and see if this was an anomaly or not. Because if he comes in there and he sits down and you talk to him or even chat on the phone with him and he's, hey, he's got his head down, he's in this book, he's studying his plays and this and that. Or if he's going to answer the phone like I'm sure Jadeveon Clowney is and like, hey, what's up? How you doing?
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. He's got a lot of upside. He could be this year. Could have gave him a ton of confidence. You know what I'm saying? And that could skyrocket him into having years like this. For the next 5-6 years. I mean, he could put up these stats. So yeah, he's not a bad. I mean, the upside's there with Reddick. So like you said, I think that's more of the thing you could probably figure out by talking to him. See where his head's at. See if he thinks. You can see if by the way that he talks. I mean, does this guy think that he needs to put in more work, or does he think just because he had one good year, he's made it and this is his, you know what I'm saying? So I can see that. But yeah, to me, Dupree, he's been pretty good in Pittsburgh for a few years. And I don't know, depending on what kind of deal he wants, I guess I'd roll with him. But yeah, Reddick was a close second to me. And he came from Temple too. So, I mean, he didn't come from a huge college.
Right.
Hassan Reddick came from Temple. So, he was playing in the AAC and playing against teams like my ECU Pirates and, not the best offensive line and not the most skilled players out there. But yeah, maybe he got to the NFL and realized he needed to put some more work in, and maybe this year it clicked. So if it does, the team's probably going to get a hell of a player for the next 5 or 6 years.
Agreed. So, all right, we're going to shift to defensive backs here. We're going to finish up with some DBs. There are 5 of them I want to hit on. One of them real quick, J.C. Jackson. He's a restricted free agent from New England. Dude had 9 interceptions this season. I think he was kind of quiet. I mean, like I said with you before the show, I knew he had a good many picks. I didn't realize he had 9. And it's going to be as a restricted free agent. Other teams can hop in here and throw some cash at him, see what happens. But the New England always has the right to match that offer, and it's going to be tough for New England to pay top dollar for 2 corners because they already have Stephon Gilmore there. That worked great in Jacksonville when they had, was it Ramsey and AJ Bouye, but that only lasted for a year, I think, before that got blown up. So I don't know. I mean, obviously he's a great player, played well this year. I'm not sure if New England's going to be able to keep him around, but we'll see.
Yeah, that'll be tough because, I mean, like edge rushers, I mean, obviously you got to cover these receivers and, obviously all these rookie receivers that we talked about, throughout the year, this receiving class. I mean, these guys in the NFL now are obviously week in and week out. You're going to be playing against some guy that's a stud on every team, so there's no lack of teams that need cornerbacks. So even if you have one, you can use another and you can use 3 and 4 of them. But like you said, can't pay them all top dollar. So it'll be tough for, yeah, like you said, for New England to match any deal. I think he'll probably move on. I think he'll take his 9 picks that he had gotten this year and move on to another team and get paid.
All right. Two more corners, both of them veterans, both of them great in their careers, both of them seemingly declining. I want to know what you think about these two guys. The first one is Patrick Peterson. He had kind of a down year, gave up the worst completion percentage of his career, 67%, and a QB rating of 98 when his receiver was targeted.
Mm-hmm.
But he is Patrick Peterson, so I'm sure he'll make some money somewhere. And the other guy, Richard Sherman, he only played 5 games before getting hurt, and he was not good in those 5 games. He was giving up a 72% completion percentage and a QB rating of 116 before going down. Not to mention, he had given up 200 receiving yards in those 5 games when he had only given up 368 in the last year's 15 games that he played in. But he runs his mouth a lot and he makes headlines, so people still think he's good, and he'll probably make money too.
Yeah, he's a name. I mean, if I had to pick between the two, obviously I would go Patrick Peterson. I mean, I don't want any part of Richard Sherman, to be honest, at this point in his career. I don't know. Like you say, he's not. I mean, the stats and the numbers aren't there. I mean, he's just not what he used to be when he was in Seattle. So I'll take Patrick Peterson. I mean, I've always been a Patrick Peterson fan. This dude's been, I don't know, man. He plays special teams. You know what I'm saying? He returns punts. And he's been on the Cardinals. He's been, the best player on defense for the Cardinals for quite some time. And I don't know. He's kind of one of those guys. I mean, I kind of just I'd rather just see him stay in Arizona. I don't know. I know they've.
Why not? Yep.
Yeah, I mean, there's been rumors like, are they with, the last couple of years they might trade him, but I don't know. I just kind of like to see him finish out his career in Arizona. I don't know. But yeah, like you said, I mean, there's going to be, he'll obviously have a huge market, I'm sure. And I mean, I don't know what him and his agent are trying to get out of some teams as far as years and deals. I don't know how many good years he has left. I don't know if I would give Patrick Peterson a
2-3 years, I would think. Or if you want to give him a 4-year contract, you can get out of it after the first 2,
I was going to say 3 max, maybe 2, 3, but maybe after the second year, you don't owe him any guaranteed money or something like that after the second year. But yeah, I'll take Patrick P, man. He's a good, I don't know, if he were to leave, I mean, like you said earlier in the show, I mean, with Jared Cook, I mean, he'd be a good guy to have in there, I'm saying, on a young defense with a young safety to pair him with Patrick Peterson. I mean, why wouldn't you want to learn from, one of the guys that's been the best for quite some time. So we'll see. He'll have a huge market, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. And last 2 guys, both safeties, both I think really fly under the radar. They are not household names unless you are a fan of the Minnesota Vikings or the Denver Broncos. One is Anthony Harris. He's been a 2-year starter. He had 104 tackles this year. Justin Simmons is the other guy. 3 years in a row for him of having over 90 tackles. And he got a Pro Bowl nod this year. I do not know how Pro Football Focus rated them this year off the top of my head, but I do know that the last 2 seasons ago, 2019 season, they were ranked number 1 and number 2 safeties in the league, according to Pro Football Focus. So these guys, although we haven't heard of them, well, I mean, we have, but you know what I'm saying? NFL teams definitely have, and these guys are going to, their bank accounts are going to be pretty happy after this free agency period.
Yeah, both those guys are good, man. I like Simmons. I mean, that dude, Justin Simmons, he flies under the radar, like you said. I mean, man, when you look at his tackle, I mean, just he puts up some stats, man. And I'll roll with Justin Simmons. I mean, I think he'll have a huge market, obviously. And Denver, like you said, 2 of these guys on our list. I mean, we said Von Miller and Justin Simmons. I mean, are they going to be able to? I don't know. They might have to pick one. You know what I'm saying? And I think they might. Sure. I don't know. Would you pick Justin Simmons, the younger guy, over Von and let Von walk, or
you got a young guy who's healthy, not coming off an injury. Now, granted, Von Miller's been doing great things, like we said, Hall of Fame trajectory on his career. But I'm going Simmons if it's me.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I would, if I had to pick. I mean, if you're going to tell me I can only keep one, I mean, I'll roll with Simmons and then draft another. You can find, I guess. I mean, at least they got Bradley Chubb. You know what I'm saying? So you have one guy that.
And several solid edge rushers, I think Broncos are picking there in the mid-teens. So you got some options there for edge rusher if you need one.
To me, that would be their best plan. You know what I'm saying? If they have to choose one, I'd roll Simmons. You let Von I guess go somewhere else, and then you use that mid first round pick, and with a mid first round pick, I mean you're going to get I guess you would probably get the second or third best rusher in the draft. I mean, maybe. I mean, obviously,
The way this draft is going, because
yeah, I'm trying to think in my head real quick, but I don't
there's
know. I mean,
there's no number one. Like usually,
mhm.
an edge rusher goes top 3 picks.
Yeah.
Probably not happening this year.
Mhm.
So, those guys are going to move down the line, and it's going to work out good for Denver if that's where they want to head.
Yeah, man, that'd be a good plan. I didn't know. Yeah, I guess I didn't see both Denver Bronco guys on there because both of these guys are going to. I mean, they're going to want to get paid. So, and it all depends. I mean, they're going to obviously have to add some pieces too on that offense. So, I mean, where are they going to want to put the money? I don't know if they're going to have enough to bring both of those guys back. So, maybe that's why John Elway stepped down as the general manager and
That's too many decisions.
he wants somebody else to be the bad guy. He doesn't want to make that call. He'll just put his input in there and let somebody else be the bad guy. That's a tough decision to roll with those two guys. It's tough.
All right, buddy. I think that concludes episode 43 for us.
43. Year is over. Just like that. The year is done.
We'll keep rolling though. We'll push content out, if not weekly, close to it. Maybe not hour-long shows, but we'll keep this content coming in one way, shape, or form. Again,
yeah, we'll figure out some ways.
Our beats are always provided by Dunson, and check out www.thediaperdust.com, our go-to spot to get rid of those nasty diapers.
Yep. And like you said, we'll brainstorm, come up with some good. Maybe we'll try to get some more guests on in the off season. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think the way this quarterback market's looking, there hasn't been any trade yet, but I mean, there's going to be a lot of guys moving. So I guess we'll have at least that to talk about. All these guys switching teams and whatnot. So, and then closer in March and April, we'll start doing our draft stuff, and we'll try to get some draft experts on here to break some stuff down with us. So we'll see what happens. Maybe we'll get some. I don't know. Maybe we'll bring some people back on that have been on with us before, and get their take on a few topics or something like that. So
I'm really hoping we have a Carson Wentz trade to talk about next week.
Yeah, that'd be nice. I was kind of excited, man.
I know.
You keep reading all this stuff on Twitter and online, deal is done. They're just waiting until Monday morning. They don't want to announce it on the Super Bowl. And Monday morning came and nothing today, nothing. I don't know, man. I think, I don't know. To me, it seems like it's either Bears or the Colts, but to me, the Bears seem more interested. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. To me, it's weird. I mean, I don't want to talk too much long about this, but I mean, the Eagles come out here and, they say they want this Matthew Stafford type deal. But, I mean, to me, Carson Wentz is the Jared Goff in the deal. You know what I'm saying? He's not the Matthew Stafford in that deal. So to me, they have it wrong. So maybe that's why the deal hasn't got done yet. But if the Eagles can get a first round pick for Carson Wentz and maybe a player, I mean, I would have signed it like 3 days ago. I mean, if anybody has offered me, if the Bears have offered me the 20th pick of this year's draft for Carson Wentz, and they're going to throw in whoever else they had said, I've heard Nick Foles, Tariq Cohen, maybe Roquan Smith.
Don't throw in anything. I don't even care. Just give me the 20th overall pick. I'm Stevie Wonder, signed, sealed, delivered. It's over.
Yeah. So maybe they're getting too greedy, man. Hopefully not. But for our sake, I think we should move on with, obviously, Carson Wentz just needs to move on. He needs a different change of scenery. And I guess we're going to roll with our boy Hurts. And if we can get a pick out of it and another player, I'm all for it. We'll see what Hurts has, and we'll roll with it. But, yeah, we'll get on that stuff. Maybe that'll be next week's episode. But, yeah, man, another good show. And obviously you've shouted out Dunson Diaper Dust. And check us out on Facebook. We'll throw the video up there tomorrow on Facebook. Comment, tell us what you think about the Super Bowl. Tell us what you think about the free agents that we talked about. You can check us out on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora. Give us a download and, tell your friends about it and keep spreading the word. And, maybe by next year we'll have a few thousand people on the Facebook page. So, keep helping us grow. And, we appreciate everybody's comments and feedback on the Facebook page. It's been fun, and we're going to keep it rolling. So keep staying with us.
Sounds good. See you, folks.
All right. See you next week.